This is a tutorial where we're going to be taking a look at how to create a really cool thing with using Paint.net. This is the program you were introduced to earlier. So here it is here. So the first thing that we're going to be doing, we're going to create a planet, but we're going to start with a picture of mud. So we need to go and get a picture of cracked mud. So you can just Google that and then download it to your computer, and then we're going to upload it into Paint.net or open it in Paint.net and then manipulate it to get what we want. So I'm just going to go get the one that I downloaded earlier. So here it is here. So I'll bring that in. So here it is in my workspace. So the first thing I need to do is invert the coloring. So the instructions say to simply do Control-Shift-I, which you can do, or you can go into Adjustments and invert colors. See, Control-Shift-I. So I'll do that. So here we go. The next thing I need to do is use the ellipse tool or a circle selection tool in order to select a perfect circle. So here's our pro tip. If you go to the ellipse select, if you press the shift key, then when you are selecting, you will automatically stay as a circle. If you lift up on the shift key before you unclick it, it doesn't work. So I'll just show you that again. So hold down the shift key, and as I click and drag, I get my circle. So lift up on your cursor first. Now, one thing we do want, you'll notice if you look close, it's a little hard to see, but my selection is not in the center, and I do want that. So I'm going to go over here. This will allow me to move an entire layer, but the white triangle allows me to move a selection. So I'm just going to grab that and move it so I'm roughly in the center. Can also resize things if I want. So actually I'll make it a little bit smaller. So you see I'm roughly in the middle, and that's fine. Perfect. Okay, so I have it centered. Now I need to invert my selection. So currently I have the circle selected. I want to select everything else. So I'm going to just press Control-I on my keyboard, and you'll notice that now everything else is selected except my planet. And then I'm just going to press the Delete key on my keyboard. Do not click the backspace key. That is not the same. You want to click the Delete key, and that takes away everything else. And then what I need to do is fill that with black. So I'm just going to use my paint bucket, which is a fill. You notice I have it, my color is set to black. And I click it and it's black. Okay, so we're getting closer. Okay, the next thing I need to do is bulge the image. Remember, what we need this to do is look three-dimensional. So we're going to use something to bulge it. So go to Effects up at the top here, and then we're going to go to Distort and then Bulge. So there are some settings, some numbers here that we're looking for. It doesn't matter, you may choose, but 30 will work. I'm going to go a little bit bigger this time. Okay, so I'm about 50 and click OK. So that is bulged. Now what I need to do is into my layer window, I need to duplicate this layer. So I'm just going to add a layer. So you'll see as I go down here, these are my different options underneath my layer window. This would add a layer, which I don't want to do. What I actually want to do is duplicate the layer. So I click, you'll notice that now I have two that are the same. And what we need to do is change the settings for my new layer. So there's a wrench down here in the bottom of this layer window. We're going to open that up. And this is my second layer. And then we're going to go here where it says blend mode. And what I want to do is click that menu to go down. And I want to make this color burn. So I'm just going to click that. And I click OK. And then what I want to do is duplicate that layer. So now I'm going to have two of the same layer. This also has that color burn, but on this one I'm actually going to go change that blend mode to additive. And I'm going to click OK. So now what I'm going to do is merge my layers down. So also in my layer window, you can see the different options that I have. The one with the red arrow will merge my layer. So it's taken my layer 3 and pushing it into layer 2, and my layer 2 into layer 1, and now I have only one left. Okay, so we're still going. What we need to do now is we're going to add some glow. So we're going to go back into Effects, and then this time we're going to go into Photo and Glow. Okay, so I'm just going to move this out of the way so we can see. Well, the numbers I'm looking at, the first one deals with the radius. We're going to actually push that up to about 10. You can adjust this until you like it, but for brightness, we're currently at 10. We want that to be much brighter, so we're going to move that up closer to 45 or so. I'm actually going to go, yeah, I'm a little bit like that. And my contrast, because you'll notice that the black has also gotten brighter, which we don't want. I'm going to move that up to about 50 something. I'm just going to go, yeah, 58, and click OK. All right. Now on this image, we have a single layer. We're going to duplicate it again. So here's my new layer. And on this layer, we want to do a zoom blur. So we're going to go to Effects, Blurs, Zoom Blur. Okay. Move this out of the way so we can see it. You can make this to your own adjustment. This is not enough. I'm going to use somewhere in the 40s. That's probably good. What some people do is they just make it as big as so that it touches the top and bottom of your image. I'm going to go a little bit bigger, and I'm going to click OK. If your planet is not in the center, what you can do is use these little toggles to move the center of the zoom blur, because obviously it needs to be in the center of the planet. We just click OK when we're done. And then what we need to do is on that new layer that we just did the zoom blur on, we go back to that wrench, and we need to adjust our blending to lighten. It's down here at the bottom. It's starting to look pretty cool. And then we just click OK. Okay, now last thing we need to do is on this layer, still on the same layer, we're going to go into Adjustments. We want to go to Hue, Saturation. We're going to move this out of the way. And we're going to take the saturation, we're going to move it all the way down to 0. Okay, so that just makes it white. But you can see how it's changing. So what it's doing up here in the middle, you can see it's a bit blue. We're just going to move it all the way to white. But it's up to you, really, whatever you guys want to do. We click OK. Right? If you're happy with what we have, what you would be doing next is you would simply merge it down and you'd be done. If you would like to make some changes, what you can do before you merge it, like currently this the zoom blur layer is white. If, for example, you wanted to change that before you merge it down, we go into Adjustments, and we're going to go into we'll go into Curves. So what this does is it adjusts colors or brightness. So this is brightness. So we're going to change it to RGB, which is colors. And then whenever we move this line, it's going to adjust the colors. So let's say we want to increase the red. So we will unclick the green and unclick the blue. So as we move this, we will get more red. So you kind of see what we're getting here. Right, so now it is redder, and I could add in a bit of green maybe if I wanted. I don't really like that. I'm going to undo that. Control Z. I'll just reset actually. Click, click. So I'm going to increase my red, and I'll click OK. Now I'll merge my layer down, and I'm finished. So what I would do now is I'm going to save it. So remember with Paint.net, when we are saving, if I save it, okay, so I've saved this as a picture. If you wanted to work on it again, so if you're working on it and then you have to leave, click Save As, and it's going to ask you if there's different ways to save it. So this is my cracked mud. I would save this JPEG. I could go as a Paint.net. So this is something I could reopen later and work on again. If you are finished, you save it as an image file. So a JPEG is the best one for this assignment. And you click Save, and that's all there is to it.